Hello and a very warm welcome to today's Backpage Friday video, and I'm pleased to say we're joined by Sunday Mail columnist Gordon Waddell. And Gordon, let's get straight down to business. Today's back pages are dominated by off-field matters at Rangers again, and on the one hand you've got the club confirming yesterday's story in the Daily Record that advanced negotiations are underway with the Easdale brothers and the Laxley partners over a £1.5 million emergency loan.
Yep.
And yet Graham Wallace then comes out and assures fans there will not be a second administration at Ibrox. What are they to believe, the Rangers fans?
I think that the two things seem a bit incongruous together, in as much as that if you need to buoy your working capital by £1.5 million at this stage of the season, then it would suggest that your finances are in pretty poor health if that's what they need to tide them over, and that's not going to last them long. I mean, the one thing that Rangers do have on the horizon in terms of income at the moment, I mean, obviously the season ticket money's gone, the shares money seems to have gone, which we've read about so often. They'll have income from the two cup semi-finals that they're guaranteed from the SFA. They've got income from their own cup game that will come in that will give them a decent clatter in the cup quarter final with Albion Rovers, or Stirling Albion as they had in their own advert in another paper today, which was obviously not exactly very respectful to their opponents. But so they know that they're guaranteed some income in future weeks that wouldn't necessarily, that would ordinarily be there. But this £1.5 million loan that they're having to do to top themselves up in the meantime would suggest that they were in real danger of not making payroll this month, and as we had written, and as I think Keith Jackson had written earlier in the week, which is significant. The one thing I think you need to be careful with is that Graham Wallace can't necessarily be held accountable for the sins of the past. He's trying to mend them. But I think what he's found is that their ills run a lot deeper than probably even he believed that they would when he first arrived.
Yeah. Well, on that, Graham Wallace yesterday launched this huge worldwide fan engagement campaign. He so far seems to have the trust of the Rangers supporters. Do you think this now is a big test?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think surveys only go so far. I think some people will respond. So I mean, it's whether they actually engage with the fans. It's all very well saying we'll take your opinions, but the acid test is whether they do anything about it and whether they actually engage with the fans rather than just give them this platform to kind of voice their feelings and then do nothing about it. He does seem to have their trust at the moment because he talks a very good game. I've met him. He's a very engaging individual. He speaks well. I get the feeling that he's to be trusted, which I have to say, given previous incumbents of that post, I'm not entirely sure I could have said that about either of the previous two, or three, in fact, for that matter. But at some point, he has to prove that he is going to steer their ship in the right direction. Because at the moment, they're still shipping money hand over fist every month. They're still losing more money than they should be. They're still paying out more money than they should be. And the thing that surprised me slightly about, that he keeps talking about this 120-day review that he's conducting of every root and branch of the club, which I think he has to do. But 4 months is a long time, and that's a lot of money, disappearing out the door that a lot of people would maybe see as being unnecessary. You've got to, from their point of view, you've got to hope that at the end of it, he actually comes up with something constructive that's going to have made that period worthwhile and not just a kind of a waste of everybody's time. But time will tell. He's only probably, obviously he's been saying that now for the past two and a half months. So you're only talking a matter of weeks until such times as he's actually got to start coming up with some answers.
Yes, the next few weeks could be interesting. Moving on, there's a big game tonight in the top six. Dundee United host Motherwell, and Jackie McNamara said earlier this week that he still believes his players are in the running to get second place in the Premiership. Do you think he's right? Have they got a chance?
I would doubt it. I think that they are due another wee run. I think they had their bad spell throughout the kind of end of December and January, where after a phenomenal run of 6 wins on the bounce, they suddenly went, I think, maybe 6 games without a win, and struggled to find the form. But they've got a pretty young team. They've got some experience in there as well, but they just didn't hit the heights. I think you can see signs of that coming back now when they beat St Mirren last week and Kilmarnock. I think you can see that the confidence is coming back amongst the young players. They're struggling with a few injuries tonight, as are Motherwell. I think if Motherwell are possibly without Keith Lasley tonight, I was at their game last week and it looked like he played about 80 minutes with a knee problem on a horrendous pitch. And if they lose him, they lose an enormous part of their team. You know, I mean, he's been their player of the season this season by a mile, and I think that could be a serious blow for them. So it'll be interesting to see how the two of them do. I still think Aberdeen have got the strength to see out second place, and Motherwell will be there or thereabouts. Dundee United will have a push at it, but I think they've given themselves a bit too much work to do.
Yeah, okay, let's finish on a high, Gordon. Let's skid our way all the way over to Sochi. Correct. And Keith Jackson this morning came out the curling closet and affirmed himself as a new fan of curling.
Well, I have to say, in our defence and in the Sunday Mail's defence, I think it's maybe 6 years past now since we first gave Eve Muirhead an award as our Young Sports Personality of the Year. I think it was maybe 2008 that she first kind of came on our radar.
She must have been about 10.
When she won her, I think that was her first World Junior Curling Championship that she won, which she then went on to win 4 of them. And we've certainly we've had a long-standing relationship with both Eve and David Murdoch, who we'll hopefully see going for gold this afternoon. Both of them were up on stage presenting awards for us at the Sports Awards back in December as well. And you know, listen, they've been terrific ambassadors for, you know, Scotland and Britain over these Olympics. They're very media friendly, they're very media savvy, and you know, listen, we all love to latch on to a success story, and the pair of them are great for the country. They're great for, you know, what would be deemed to be a minority sport in curling, that, you know, and it's a sport that a lot of people kind of just don't associate with because it's seen as being a kind of an ageing middle class pursuit in the ice rinks of Stirling and, you know, and places like that. But you know, I think if this makes it more real for younger people and for people to try and engage with another sport, then so much the better. Great.
We're just minutes away then for David Murdoch leading his team out on the ice.
You're not going to ask me for a prediction, are you?
Oh, come on, of course, we need one.
I would love to say that I'd be absolutely guessing. I mean, obviously, I would love to see them win. I've got no idea whether the Canadian rink are any good or not, in the same way that I know that David Murdoch they won and they medalled in the Europeans just 2 or 3 months ago, I think. So, yeah, listen, if you're starting to ask me about curling form, then you're speaking to the wrong man. But you know, my fingers are crossed for them, just because he's a good guy, he's Scottish, and we all want to see him do well.
We'll take that as a yes. Okay, don't forget you can catch up on how David and his team got on in Sochi in the next few hours on www.dailyrecord.co.uk. Thanks again for joining us.